Thanks everyone for taking the time. I know it's been a pretty busy couple days since everyone got into town, all the meetings, meat market, trade show floor today. So just want to thank everyone for taking some time to come to the presentation here today. Really my goal here is that everyone here takes away some tangible action points when they go home and look at their email campaigns, and hopefully they take something from the presentation that they can implement right away and see a positive impact in their campaigns. Just to get it started here, just wanted to thank Sean and Missy for putting everything together. I know it's a lot of work putting together the show, so just want to thank them for their time putting together the show and give myself the opportunity to speak in front of everyone today. Just want to start off, give everyone a little bit of background on myself. My name is Matthew Wolosz. I've been in the space for about 10 years now, worked everything from search and display from my years at Yahoo to email campaigns, text links, you name it. Been very involved in the space for a long period of time. Currently I'm the VP of Sales for XVerify. We're one of the leading providers of email verification and database hygiene. We work very extensively with big data companies, email marketing firms, ESPs, really anyone who's looking to get a better return on investment of their emailing campaigns and making sure that their traffic and their emailing efforts are solid and of the best quality. So today, what I'm going to speak about is ways to increase email open rates using segmentation. And basically I broke this into about 5 different subsets of categories to focus on. One, essentially, we want to discuss, what is segmentation and how it's going to benefit your campaigns. Why should we use it? Obviously, if I'm going to invest the time and money to segment my list, what's in it for me? What am I going to get out of it? What do you have to do to segment your list? Certain steps that you can take, certain data points that you may have that you're not capitalizing right now that you can do to segment your list. And how can you measure the results of segmentation? We're all seeing great ways that we can monetize our media buying efforts, and we want to be able to, at the end of this presentation, be able to allow you to go back and measure all the time and effort that you took to segment your list and the benefits that you're going to have from that. So obviously measuring the results is going to be an important thing. Is the time and the effort I took to do this worth the return on the investment? So to get started here, really, what is segmentation? So, segmentation to me is essentially giving a customer what they want compared to what you think everyone wants. So the goal really is to provide a customized and unique user experience that's tailored to each individual person that's opening that email, okay? So when we look at different market segmentation that happens right now, TV, for example, if you watch daytime TV, you're not going to see the same commercial ads that you're going to see during an NFL game. If you listen to political talk radio or you listen to top 50 hits, you're going to hear different ads that are on the radio. And same thing when you go online. When you go online, everyone right now is targeting ads based on behavior and buyer history. So whether you look at online, radio, TV, media, everyone's segmenting their marketing efforts, and there's no reason why you shouldn't segment your email marketing efforts. And I think some of the reasons why people don't right now is because email is so easy. I'm just going to load up my list. I'm just going to put it in MailChimp. I'm going to hit send. I'm going to put together a creative, and it's going to go out to everyone. And it's easy. It's painless. It gets out. I think we all kind of fall into that trap. So what we want to really do here is focus on what's the benefits of taking the time to better segment our list and how it's going to have a good return on your investment, and really follow what people are doing in the display space, in TV and radio by segmenting their ads as well, and take that to the email space. So a couple things, why should we use segmentation? What's the benefit? And the benefits aren't always to us as a marketer. The benefits are to the consumer as well, because those have to fall in line. If the consumer's not having a good experience, us as a marketer are not going to be able to capitalize on a return on investment. And so, better user experience, marketing segmentation. First thing that comes to mind is maybe, once a month, once every other month, I'm able to muster enough patience to go out shopping with my wife. And we go out to the mall and we walk into a store, oftentimes a clothing store, and you notice the men's clothes are on the left side and the female's clothes are on the right side. And the reason for that is because when I'm a male and I'm shopping for clothes and I'm looking at a pair of jeans, I want to look to my right and see a sweatshirt, a dress shirt that I can wear along with that. As much as I love to look at a pair of Spanx, it's not going to be a good cross-sell if I'm looking at a pair of jeans. So, when you look at what other marketers are doing in the space and how stores are set up, they're segmenting their products and to give the user a better experience. And it's the same thing with emails. And ultimately, when we give the user a better experience, that's the starting point, that they're going to open and click on more of your emails. So how many more opens and how many more clicks could we expect when we segment our list? So we deal with well over 500 different customers on a monthly basis who are sending us anywhere from 10,000 to over 100 million records to clean and verify on a monthly basis. And what they tell us is that when we take the effort to segment our list, we are typically seeing 200 to 300% better open rates. And on top of that, they're seeing a dramatic increase in the number of click-throughs and much fewer opt-outs, and overall deliverability is improved. So what that leads to, second step, is more revenue, okay? So if you look at email, the average ROI for email as a marketing medium is 2 to 5 times that of other marketing mediums. So whether it's search marketing, display ads, PPC, or you look at SEO, the ROI from email is significantly higher than any other medium out there. And when you look at email as a global marketing medium, by the end of this year, there is expected to be about 4.5 billion unique email accounts. That's crazy. The average person is going to have anywhere from 4 to 5 different emails. So as email evolves and as people have more emails, and it's an easy way to reach a lot of people, segmentation in email should become a real priority for everyone's marketing efforts that they should take very seriously and take a close look at how they can improve that. Fourth thing is less spam complaints. So this is a thing that's very frustrating for the marketers that we work with. They spend a lot of time, they spend a lot of money getting users to opt in, joining their list. They're spending a lot of money per click on Google, on Facebook, through different networks. And these users are opting in, they're receiving 2 or 3 emails, and instead of opting out, they're marking these emails as spam. So what we recommend is when these users mark your emails as spam is to make sure you use that as a point to better segment these users. If you're emailing your users once a week and these people are marking your emails as spam, we don't necessarily recommend opting them out right away. We recommend that you take steps such as maybe emailing them once every 4 weeks, or when you go back to re-engage them, make sure you give them a reason to come back, whether it's a coupon code, whether it's a discount offer, or whether it's just providing some information to them where you're not always looking for the sale. So there's a lot of ways that you can help manage your spam complaints and use that to better segment your list when it comes to managing your spam complaints. And obviously less unsubscribes. I think that, if you wait till users unsubscribe to take actions against unsubscribers, you're kind of behind the 8 ball. I'll give you a perfect example. I do all my financial investing through Charles Schwab, and I'm sure everyone saw the first couple days of the year wasn't the best time to be in the market. And about the 4th or 5th of the year, I received an email, and it was from the CEO of Charles Schwab. Oh, great. I'm getting an email from the CEO of Charles Schwab. And in there wasn't a pitch to move all your money out of the stock market into gold funds and put it under your bed. It was a reassuring message that this is part of investing. You got to take the risk with the reward. And essentially that email was building up political capital, as they call it, building up relationship capital with their consumers. So that's something that I think is really important, because a lot of emails, when they mail to sell, they mail to engage, they mail to click. And oftentimes buying is a process, and building a relationship with a client is a process. So you want to make sure that you do things to manage those unsubscribes before they unsubscribe, and providing insight, like this email I got with Schwab, is a great way to provide additional value to those users so they think twice about unsubscribing. So what do you have to do to segment your list? One is to learn about your subscribers. And before we get into learning about your subscribers, it's important to understand why that user signed up to be on your email list. Why did they sign up? So oftentimes, we deal with marketers, they sign up and they just mail, they mail, they mail. They never take a step back and realize, well, what did they originally opt into? Did they purchase a product? Did they want a coupon offer? Did they want to simply join your sweepstakes? It's important to understand why they signed up when you're understanding how you're going to engage and develop a relationship with that user. And two, we want to analyze and filter your data. So, we think of age, gender, location as simple ways to segment your list. But some of the most effective ways is to uncover things like birthdays, anniversary dates, favorite seasons, prior purchase history, online behavior, interests. These are really the things that make people want to click on your ad. So if you're tracking user behavior on your site, make sure you use that. Oftentimes there's a lot of data that we have on our customers that we don't take a close enough look at to uncover and use that in our marketing efforts. So you don't necessarily have to send out, a survey to your customers to learn more about them. Look what they're doing on your site. Look what products they're leaving in your cart. Look what they signed up for. Try to find out, what they're doing online. Try to find out what date did they sign up for. A lot of sites that we work with, they send sign-up anniversaries. Hey, if you opted in December 1st to our list, congratulations, 1 year, on our mailing list. Different things to engage those users outside of just the very basic general information that's on there. And, managing your data. How often should I look at my data? Typically, we would recommend to our clients in the mail space at least once a month, look at your data. See how it's performing, see how your segmented lists are responding to your offers, and manage that data. The time that you take to manage that list once a month is going to have a significant return on your investment. So you don't want to wait till a problem arises to solve it. So we always recommend about once a month, take a look at your data, see what you can change, see how you can better segment your list. Don't wait till there's any issues with your list to go back and manage it a little bit better. And then, like we talked about here, how can you segment your list? Obviously, we talk about age, gender, location, interest, all this, all these things. And one thing that I recommend to everyone to do right away, no matter what space you're in, is really try to learn what your competitors are doing. You hear people all the time, oh, don't make the same mistake twice. One of the first things that you can do is find out who your top 4 or 5 competitors are in the space, who has been in there for a while. Sign up for their offers, sign up for their coupons, buy a product on their site, abandon something in their shopping cart. See how often they email you, see what the title of that email is, see what the subject line is, see what the frequency. There's a reason why they're doing it. Everyone here has competitors that have been in the space for a long period of time, and there's a lot that often you can learn from it. So this is something that is beyond just segmenting your list based on, some of the points we have up here, but really understand what your competitors are doing to bring them in. And oftentimes that's a great starting point, rather than just trying to kind of guess what's the best way to segment, what's the best way to mail. So that's a good way you can kind of incorporate a lot of these data points that you may have on your users, some of these things that you may go about trying to collect data on as a way to better, monetize your list. And, how can you measure the results of segmentation? We have inboxing, open, clicks, less opt-outs. Ultimately, it comes down to sending out fewer emails and getting and getting better results. I mean, it's really about efficiency. If you're using an ESP, it costs a lot of money to send out emails, costs a lot of money to get the users to opt in, costs a lot of money to develop the creative, costs a lot of money to manage the campaign. So, really the measure of the results is sending out fewer emails and getting better results. But results isn't always about sales. Sales is a process that takes a while to take place. And, one of the analogies that I make all the time is, It starts with the title of your email that you're sending out. You know, I would make an analogy between the title of an email and a first date. If you try to get too much out of a first date, it doesn't always end well. You try to get too much out of a title of an email, they're very quickly to unsubscribe. So, you know, when you're looking at open rates, click-through rates, engagement with your users takes time. And it's something that I really would want everyone to take away from this, that all because people aren't purchasing tomorrow because you segment your list doesn't mean that it was a wise investment of your time. It takes time to build relationships with your clients, and it takes time to build relationships with your user base. And think about it, I mean, we work with mailers all the time, and there's a lot of mailers out there, and a lot of even large companies that just mail and mail and mail and mail, and they don't take a second to step back and say, how can we better approach these users? How could we make it a longer term buying process? And when you do that, you're really ahead of the curve. There's not a lot of people who are taking the required time that it takes to properly engage users through a sales process. They're trying to have them purchase right away. So when you build that relationship with people, like when I got that email from the CEO of Charles Schwab, that made me feel good. And that email stuck out to me. And the average person on a daily basis receives about 125 emails to their inbox. It's a lot of emails between their work and personal email. They're getting 125 a day. You know, so you're up against pretty stiff competition. And then obviously with people getting emails on their phone, you're competing with text, you're competing with Snapchat, you're competing with updates on people's social media profiles. So as great as email can be, it can be extremely competitive now. So it's important that we take these steps to make sure that the content that we're delivering is very relevant and is ultimately really what the users want. And if you do that, it really has a great long-term ROI. And this is one of my, favorite quotes from Abraham Lincoln. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. And this really, to me, is exactly what email segmentation is about. It's about learning about your users, spending the time to segment your list, putting together the proper creatives, paying attention to it, optimizing it on a monthly basis, taking the time to do it right. And if you do, that's when you're going to really see a greater ROI. You're going to see less opt-outs and ultimately more placement in the inbox. So I just appreciate everyone for your time. Just want to open up for any questions. What would I do to avoid spam traps?
Yes, by reactivating the database you have.
Okay, so the issue of spam traps in your current database?
The issue is
how to find spam traps. How we do? I mean, how we do technically, I'd be happy to speak about that with you after the presentation. I can give you a little bit of color on spam traps in general. I mean, spam traps are meant to be private. We're not supposed to know what they are. There's a lot of providers in our space right here who will say, oh, we'll help you remove spam traps. Ultimately, there's a lot of companies that have proprietary lists of emails that they may believe are traps, could be traps. No one can tell you 100%. There's a lot of companies in that space that have proprietary information that believe they are. Some say they are. There's really no foolproof way. There's so many spam traps out there. They're changing all the time. Ultimately, if you're getting good, solid data where users are opting in and you're not buying lists, you're not mailing to old emails that are 6 months old, those really aren't going to be a problem for you. We have a relationship with a lot of ESPs, and basically what they tell us is that, hitting a couple spam traps isn't a big deal, but, hard bouncing 15 to 20% of your list is a much bigger deal. So, there's no answer for spam traps. Any vendor here or anywhere else that says they can remove all of them, it's just not possible.
My second question about the database, what any tools in the industry, which like predictive tools, which let you know who and when to shoot an email automatically.
In terms of like a platform to help you. I mean, we don't work in that space. I mean, I know, for example, a lot of the ESPs that we have relationships with, like they have a lot of segmentation tools that you can use, but that really isn't in our space. I mean, we're basically in the verification space, and we don't, go over to the predictive side. I mean, I know there's been a lot of people that I've had conversations with here who are in that space, but we're just strictly, validating the emails, make sure they're valid and won't bounce when delivered. Yes?
If you're just getting started, but you have a source of emails that you've already accumulated, how would you start by going to scrub that list to make sure that the emails are valid? And the second question is, this may be very naive to me, but how do you know when a person has clicked the button that says, like, this is spam?
Okay, so it's a great question. So just to repeat his question, he wants me to go through how we go about validating the list, and then how do we know when users mark an email as spam? Okay, so technically how we go out and validate our emails, and if you haven't, a list that you haven't mailed to, I recommend working with us. XVerify is another company in the space, Fresh Address is another company in the space. Essentially what we'd be able to do is go out, confirm that every inbox is real and is valid and will not hard bounce if it's mailed to, as step number one. Especially if you're new to mailing, you're building up your IP's reputation. It's the most important time to make sure that your mails are good. Turning around a bad IP reputation is essentially like trying to turn around a cruise ship. It's going to take a very long period of time. So it's a very important part as you're building that reputation to go and do it. So that's really important. We essentially, from a technical standpoint, will go out, confirm at the host server level that email address exists, and give you confirmation before you guys would mail to it.
How about the click on the button if it's marked as spam?
You click on the button mark as spam. If you're working with an email service provider, they'll provide that in the feedback loop to you, and trust me, they will make sure you know about that. Yeah.
When it comes to having the user verify their email or having you guys verify the email, is there any difference? What have you seen when it comes to the difference to cost to the company?
Yeah, so his question is the difference between us verifying the email or you sending essentially a double opted-in email to get them to verify. So what we're essentially doing is we're going to verify the email at point of collection. So when the person actually is on the page, puts in their email, we would present two options for you. One is to actually verify that email right away within a split second, and if they put in a bad email, we can prompt the user, ask them, hey, please correct your email before proceeding. Or we can verify in the back end via an API. You let that user go through, they opt in, we'll let you know via an API response that that email address is invalid, so you don't send that initial double opt-in email that will hard bounce. The advantage of doing it on the page is that a good portion of people are putting their emails in on a mobile device, a tablet, so you get a lot of typos, bad autocorrects. The ability to alert that user right away who wants to receive the email, who's engaged in that process, is important. So it's more before the fact until after you mail it. There's no way to go back and say, hey, correct your email, and now you just took the hard bounce.
And how do you guys know that user's email is wrong?
So we go out and we confirm at the host server that mailbox exists at the server. We don't do appending, so joesmith@yahoo.com. We'll just confirm joesmith@yahoo.com exists. We won't tell you that joesmith@yahoo.com is indeed, in fact, Joe Smith, because we can't do that. And just to touch a little bit, piggyback on that for appending, typically for companies that we work with in the email appending space, typically accuracy rates around 35 to 45%. So that's another area that can get a little tricky, where with us, accuracy rates typically in the very high 90s. Yes?
So like sometimes when I go to somebody's website, I want to download a free white paper and it prompts me for an email. I just type in a BS email address, it says it's not valid, and I just type in like 5 or 6 email addresses, joe@gmail.com. Do you find that to be an issue, and do you have like something in place that after 3 attempts, it blocks them out or kicks them into a different type of list?
Sure. So his question just related to multiple email submits on a form that would be using our technology. So what we do is you can control that, and you can control how many times you give the user a chance to put in the right email. We have some customers who give them one shot and then lock them out. But yeah, you can control that. Now, just to be clear, if the user puts in and indeed an email that to them is fake but is real, we would verify it. So we're not appending, just to make that distinction. But we only see that a very small percentage of the time. People will actually go to such lengths. After the first or second time, they'll certainly go through. Now, with a lot of people we work with in obviously the affiliate space, you know, a lot of people create sales funnels, right? So it's put your email in here, and then you go to stage 2, and then they ask for the sale in stage 3. So, you know, on that first page, it is, you know, important that we do give them, you know, at least 1 or 2 opportunities to go ahead and put in a good email. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there a provider that you guys work best with when it comes to email management, MailChimp? You guys work best with that?
I mean, we're pretty agnostic in that case. I mean, they're all good. I mean, they're all good. They're, you know, you can't really go wrong. I mean, there's a ton out here. I don't really recommend one or the other because we're just in the verification space. Don't want to create kind of a conflict, but they're all good. Here's the big thing: if you're not buying data and all your data is opted in and you have a good traffic source, it's not really going to matter what ESP that you work with. And if you're doing it the right way, you can even mail from your own IPs if you're doing things the right way. Yes.
What are some good tips and tricks for subject lines? Like, I know personalizing subject lines a lot of times will increase our open rates. What are some other ideas to, increase open rates by doing something clever in the subject lines, or other ways to kind of organize the layout of an email so you increase click-through rates?
Yeah, so it's a fine balance. So some of the things that you want to avoid that I touched on here is obviously free, exclusive, any type, the Yahoo, Gmail, they have certain keywords that they're going to look for in the title of the email. And you could probably do some research online and throw into Google, and you'll see maybe the top 25 or 30 keywords that you don't want to use. In terms of stuff that you do want to use, first name is a big thing, anniversary dates, sign-up dates, certain teams that they like. I mean, when I go to, I've ordered a lot from NFLshop.com, so whenever they send me an email, it's, check out the new Patriots gear. It's not check out the new football gear. They'll say, my first name, anniversary dates. I mean, those are some that you can throw in there, but it's really about not being, overly catchy. It's more or less just trying to find a way to stand out between those 125, emails that person's receiving a day between their personal and work email to get them to open. But first name is always a great way to start, and you want to make sure it's pretty concise, and look at it on your mobile phone too. Make sure it doesn't run over too long, the subject line, and simple enough, because a lot of times people write these subject lines, but they see it on their desktop, but they don't always look at it on mobile. So, preview the email on mobile. Is it easy for them to read the subject line before it goes out? I would say about 20 to 25, typically. And it kind of goes back to what I said before. I mean, the subject line is just about to get them to open the email to take the next step. You don't want to do too much with that subject line, because then you kind of get into that spam category where you don't want the email service provider or Yahoo, Gmail to mark it as spam. So, really use that as a first step, and make your pitch in the actual body of the email, not necessarily in the title of the email.
And do you have any tips or tricks or anything super smart to get people to click through the email, like whether it's formatting or special offers or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you always want to have a call to action, a very clear call to action in the bottom of the email. Make sure you give them, whether it's a time frame to sign up or to use the specific coupon. Make sure it's very relevant to prior purchase history. If you're obviously a commerce site, obviously, emailing them opportunities about things that they've left in their cart. But really, don't make it too long, and really look at it on your mobile device, because that's where a majority of people are going to be looking at their emails. You want to make sure they don't have to scroll all the way down. So short and concise title, short and concise offer, very clear call to action, and really that's going to give you the best results. Yes?
Facebook has recently started a little program where they're giving back emails to us if we're advertisers. Are you seeing any issues with that or dealing with those?
We don't deal with like Facebook directly. I'm trying to understand your question.
I've used it yet, but I've noticed that they're offering some services to bring emails back when we have people who click through on their
Sure. So, yeah, so I mean, that's proprietary data to them that they have based on, obviously, the users on their site. If you wanted to email them, you know, you can email us that list and we can verify it because, like, I signed up, I have Facebook, but my login is my .edu email that's 10 years old. So that's something where we can help if you got their emails where you definitely would want to verify them before you mail it to them, because some of them are old. Yeah, I mean, some of them are old. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are old. They're not necessarily the active ones that they're receiving the updates to. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, I just want to get your take on this. We have multiple brands both on and offline. And when we go to XVerify, and we usually XVerify every 18 months, next to their business, we have an internal debate that we check to see if they have store purchases in that.
Mhm.
And the VPs of the store don't want us to remove them off the email file, even if they have no activity, because they think just getting that email triggers them possible for store.
Yeah, so it's a great question. I have a long answer for you. He's giving me the heads up that the time's up. Could we speak right after? Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for the time.